70 mil toneladas de metal. De 7 a 11 de janeiro de 2020, você, juntamente com 60 bandas de metal e 3 mil cabeças de metal de todo o mundo, em um navio de cruzeiro. 70miltons.com.
Fala pessoal, ligado na Ilha do Metal. Estamos aqui novamente no 70,000 Tons of Metal. E agora eu vou conversar com o Harry Johansen, da banda TYR. Is it right? TYR. Harry, first thank you for receiving us from Brazil. And I'd like to start asking you about this festival. First time that I heard TYR was here in 2011 when you first played.
That was the first cruise, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yes. And from since then you've played, I think it's the fourth?
This will be the fourth, yes.
The fourth, yeah. And so I assume that you like to be here.
My honest opinion is this is the greatest festival in the world.
Oh, it's the same opinion that I have. And it's a difference. Can you say any? Can you just say any difference between playing in a sea festival from a land festival?
Well, the obvious difference is, well, like when it rains here, it's really no problem because you're dressed up to go in the pool anyway. If it rains at a land festival, you're wading in the mud and your clothes are dirty and there's no way to get dry again. This is sort of luxury, compared. You have a room, you can take a shower when you want, and it's more expensive probably, but it's really worth it. So those are the main differences for me. When you get older, you don't like to wade in the mud anymore. Yeah. 17-year-olds can do that.
That's great. And in terms of music, can you bring everything that you use in a land festival or in a small gig here?
Yeah. This is, all the organization part is just as good as any land festival. We bring all our stuff, all the stuff that we bring to a land festival, and there's no difference there.
Okay, that's great.
The only negative thing I can think of is it might rain when you play on the pool deck, and it makes the crowd a bit smaller, and sometimes the boat is rolling a bit and it's a bit confusing to stand on stage, but and that doesn't happen on the land festival. Those are the only downsides I can think of, but I mean the luxury that's connected with this one is just easily weighs up for it.
Yeah, it just happened. You said that Arcona had to postpone the gig. I think they played in the end. But
I saw them. But there was a small crowd of people in swimsuits in front of them, and then a large crowd under the roof in the back.
Yeah, because it's not the good boat. Yeah. But now it's sunny again, and.
But then there's also the thing. Everybody plays two sets anyway, and one of them is on the inside. So if the outside set is disturbed by weather, then there's always the indoor set also.
This is true. This is true. Yeah, so you have a chance to play for more people anyway.
Yeah,
that's nice. But the pool deck it's a big party.
Yes. when those shows are good, I think that is just the coolest stage there is.
Yeah, it's true. It's really nice. Yeah. About the band, because you are from the Faroe Islands, I imagine that in the beginning was very hard for you because it's not like in Europe you take it's not easy, but you hire a bus and you tour Europe, and for you it's a little. So how was because I think that your band put the Faroe Island in the map of metal. You were the pioneers and the most well succeeded band there.
That's probably true. Yes. When we started the tour, of course, it was difficult, very expensive also to get out of the country because there's very little income for a band that's just starting, so the travel expense is a very large part of the whole thing. But as you get bigger, and the travel expense stays the same, and it's a smaller and smaller part of the whole budget. So nowadays it's not really a big deal. It's more expensive than it would be for other bands, but not terribly much. It was hard to begin with, but not really anymore.
And how is the band in terms of how much have you influenced the music there? Is there more? Do they play TYR in radios? Is there new emerging bands coming after you?
Yeah, you hear our songs on radio every now and then. It's not the most played. There are other Faroese artists that are much more popular than we are in the Faroes. Artists who play pop music and country music, and some other metal bands also that they play a lot. But you hear our songs on radio every now and then, and there are relatively many metal bands. I'm not sure. I can think of 5 or 6 bands. Some of them who do a little bit of touring and release albums, and I'm not sure which part we had to play in that, but a little bit, I hope.
I assume so, yeah, definitely. Well, we have a new album coming soon, Hell, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I had the chance of listening to the Fire and Flame that's available, and also you played last night. And I really like the way that, because you do this on many songs, that you match the lyrics with the melody. And in this song, I just felt that there's a lot of guitar solos and very metal, I don't know, just I called my attention for the amount and very refined guitar solos that you have. Is that what you can expect of the whole album? Any hints?
That song, Fire and Flame, is maybe a little bit more standard or old school heavy metal, I guess you would call it. It's maybe a little bit in the spirit of Iron Maiden, like all the soloing stuff and melody stuff. It's maybe not the standard for the album. The sound of it is probably representative of the album, but the song structure of precisely that song is not common for the album. There's a very long melody and solo piece in that song, and we don't have that in all the songs.
And what can you expect for the most of the album?
Well, Gunnar made the song Fire and Flame, and his style is sort of Iron Maiden, Deep Purple, that way. Terje made 5 songs for the album, and his main influences are something like Metallica and Pantera, so he makes a bit harder music than I do. I made the rest of the songs. There are 13 on the album, and I've used 2 various traditional ballads, so that's very standard TYR, and for the other songs I've used some Danish folk melodies, some Norwegian and some Swedish folk melody. So it's sort of the same thing as I usually do, only I think it sounds better on this one because we took a lot more time to arrange the songs and to record them, so we got a better end result this time, and it's recognizable in this, the way I arrange vocal melodies and choirs. I think people will say that's the way it always sounds, but the sound of the instruments, the bass in particular maybe, and the arrangement of the songs is more, how can I say it, it's arranged in as good as we could possibly have made it with the time we took for it. And that was not always the case with our most recent albums.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to hear the whole. It's going to be out in late March, right?
Early March, 8th of March.
8th of March,
Yeah.
8th of March, people. Okay, and you said that you composed part of the songs and Terje composed the rest, so Attila had no participation in the...
No, actually Terje left the band after we finished the album.
Oh, okay.
So we did do something. We've made 2 videos for 2 songs. They're going to be released on the 2nd of February and the end of February. Instead of trying to pretend to play Terje solos, Attila actually made new solos for those songs, or for the video versions only. So that's his part for this album. Apart from that, it was all Terje.
Okay, and how is he doing in the band? I saw yesterday, I really loved him on stage. I think it's a very good energy coming in.
Yes. He has great energy. He loves the music. He loves guitar playing in general, and it's just it's a joy to have him on stage, honestly.
That's nice. And he's from Hungary, right? And also the drummer.
He's from Hungary. The drummer is actually from Germany, but he moved to Hungary when he was a child with his parents, and he grew up in Hungary. But he's actually German.
Okay, and so how is this now that you have more international band with members of different countries? Did it give something new to the band? Do you think?
It's horrible. No. I like it. I like to be exposed to different languages, especially. So I speak some German. I like to babble a little bit in German with Tadeusz, the drummer, and ask him about some Hungarian phrases and just details about Hungarian politics and culture and whatnot. I love it. I really love it.
That's nice. Yeah, that's nice. And about being from Faroe Island and now touring all over the world. I mean, I think that in terms of nature, it's a little bit hard to top Faroe Island, but is there any place that it caught your attention, not for the metal itself, or the gigs, but for other reasons that you say, wow, caught you by surprise?
There are some really nice places that we've seen. Most of the time I think, yeah, this is nice, but Faroes are nicer. And we were playing at a festival in Norway called Gudbrandsdalen. And I thought, if ever I've seen a place that's nicer than the Faroes, then that was it. But there are other places that are unbelievably beautiful, and you don't even hear about these places as nice places. We were in Vladivostok in Russia, and that's one of the nicest places I've seen. It looks a bit like San Francisco, which is also one of the most beautiful cities, in my opinion. We've been to some nice places in Canada. I don't really remember the names, but some very beautiful countryside in Canada. We've been to Iceland quite a few times. It looks nice, but the Faroes are nicer.
Is it a bit similar?
No.
Iceland
Iceland is really like new volcanic rock, so it's sort of brittle, and their mountains are like big heaps of sand, whereas the Faroese mountains are, gigantic, straight, vertical cliffs.
Okay.
So Iceland is sort of crumbling on the edges, whereas the Faroes are very hard rock, and it doesn't really look the same, even though Iceland can be very nice to look at also.
Okay, now so I really need to go to the Faroe Islands.
Yes, you do. Everybody does.
It's in my plan. Well, we've been to Brazil a few times, and you played there a few times.
Yes.
And I want to know your feeling, especially in the first time when you played in São Paulo. I was born in a neighborhood in São Paulo, and only in this neighborhood there are more people than in the capital of Faroe Island. So how was to be in such a big place for the first time?
When we flew to South America, I was completely blown away. There are cities whose name I had never heard in my life, and there are like 10 million people living in the city, and you fly over it for 30 minutes before you reach the airport. If you fly 30 minutes in the Faroes, you cross the country many times. Just the sheer amount of people who live there is mind-boggling, and just 2 city blocks is the same as the Faroes. So it's you get used to it. It's same in Russia. You see some cities that you've never heard of, and they have easily 10 million people, and same in China. So in the end, you just get the feeling, yeah, we come from a really, really tiny country.
And it is okay to go out. Is it a bit scary, or how was the feeling, and how is the crowd there?
It's not really scary. I mean, everywhere we go, people are extremely friendly and welcoming, and maybe the first couple of times we went traveling internationally to play, it was a bit nerve-wracking, and you're worried about how people are going to react, but you find out very soon that in the metal community people are generally extremely friendly and helpful, so not scary at all.
That's nice. And then how do you like to play there in Brazil?
I love it. People are absolutely crazy, and they really love metal. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, this is true.
It's a big thing in Brazil, and all of South America for that matter. And I can see from our numbers, when we look at our numbers on Spotify and iTunes, for example, that South America is just like, in numbers, it's the biggest market easily. But for the money numbers, I guess US and Germany is better. But in number of listeners, South America is our biggest market.
Okay, nice. That's nice. Yeah. We have a very big legion of people who likes this kind of, well, we don't really have a kind of music, I guess, but when you mix this traditional music with metal and folk with speed metal, they usually we like a lot this kind of music, and we have a nice time in the gig. So yeah,
I know that's good thing.
Yeah. And just one more question about Hell. You were releasing in different formats. Many types of vinyls, and especially limited editions, 200 copies and somewhere, and one with a very nice drinking horn as well. So why have you decided to do many different formats of the...
That is actually the decision of the record label.
Okay.
So we have nothing to do with that. They have some estimations of how you best promote an album and what sells and what people want to buy. So it's completely their decision. We just make the music and send the music to the label, and they do everything else. People want LPs nowadays. I don't buy them myself, but I think it's a nice thing. It's the kind of it's the music format that I grew up with, was LPs. But I don't have the circumstance to buy LPs or play LPs. I have it all on Spotify and iTunes. So I'm glad they do it, and I'm glad people like to buy it, but it's not my thing.
Okay. Yeah, I like the limited edition of stuff, because nowadays you don't really need the CD or the LP, because you can have everything on the internet.
Yes.
So it's nice to have a different booklet, or I like it.
I know what you mean.
My favorite bands, I always buy the stuff.
Yeah, I have a few bands where I had to buy the CD itself, and I was not satisfied with having it on the internet. But CDs break and they don't last forever, and you can always go back to the internet and get it. It looks like the internet is the most durable format that there's going to be.
Yeah.
Cassettes didn't last long. CDs don't last that long. LPs, if you take care of them, they can last very long. But it's not going to beat the MP3.
Yeah, this is true. It's so easy to carry and just select the songs. It's okay. Okay, Harry, I don't want to take much of your time. I know that you want to enjoy the cruise, so I just ask you to leave a message to your fans in Brazil.
Hello, Brazilian fans. Please buy our album when it's released on Metal Blade on the 8th of March, and come to our shows when we return to Brazil, and especially if you travel a long way to see our shows. We really appreciate that, because unfortunately we can't play in all the cities. So stay cool, guys, and see you soon.
Thank you. Harry, thank you very much
for
your time. And